If you hate small talk, it's probably because you think it's pointless. Weather updates, weekend plans, random life details you didn't ask for. And you're right about one thing. The majority of the time, people aren't sharing information because they genuinely want to know you. And that's a frustration that autistic folks like me really feel. It doesn't serve our purpose, so we dismiss it as pointless. But no, small talk exists for a different reason. It exists to answer the question, are you safe to be around? Today, I want to talk about why small talk exists and why it feels so exhausting for so many late identified autistic adults. We'll cover what people are actually doing when they make small talk, why it feels intrusive or confusing instead of connecting, and how to use it as a tool instead of an obligation. Are you ready? Let's go. What's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast, the podcast for late identified autistic adults who want real relationships without fake masks. Let's talk connection, clarity, and showing up as your authentic self. Now, let's start off with small talk, what it is not. Small talk is not curiosity. One of the biggest misunderstandings about small talk is assuming people are genuinely curious about you. Most of the time, they are not. They're not trying to learn about your inner world. They're not seeking depth. Some of them really might be confused by your simple observations. You probably have insights and information that they can't even fathom. Instead of thinking about them being interested and curious about me, I know that they're looking for safety, familiarity. For them, they're used to saying nonsense words and making mouth noises to exchange energy. They ask questions and answer in ways that seem thoughtless to us, really. For some autistic adults, this feels confusing because when we ask questions, we mean them. We're intentional. We're focused. We're conserving energy. So when someone starts talking without a clear purpose, your brain starts to ask, why are you talking to me? Why do you think I care? What is required of me here? Those are logical questions for your brain. And although those answers would help you better engage, if you'd ever ask them, you'd be immediately labeled as rude, offensive, or even an asshole. It's not your intention, but it's certainly the impact. So instead of asking those questions to someone who's making mouth noises at you about the weather, let's answer them here so that you can engage in small talk in a way that is meaningful to you. All right, let's first address this question. Why are you talking to me? Well, if you live near someone, if you work near them, or you cross paths on a regular basis, small talk plays a specific role. It lowers uncertainty. People use brief conversations to answer an unspoken question. Is this person safe to exist with? That's why neighbors stop you to chat. It's not because they expect friendship or they want closeness with you. What they want is predictability. Consider that repeated neutral contact creates predictability, and predictability feels safe. They want to leave an interaction with you having some idea of what you're thinking, what your patterns are, and your general temperament. They keep a running tally of every interaction. They think, oh, this was fun. Oh, they seem nice. Oh, they're a cool person. Then they mark you as predictable and safe. I'll tell you how this showed up for me. A neighbor once walked up to me and said hello, and they immediately start talking about what they'd been doing that day. The standard, outgoing, friendly, extroverted thing to do, right? It was a kind of interaction that many people would think, oh, they're outgoing and friendly, definitely not shy. But me, my first thought was, why are you talking to me? My second thought was, why do you think I want to know this? Leave me alone. And in that moment, several thought processes kicked off at once. I went into my head trying to find the answers to those questions. Why are you talking to me? Why do you think I want to know this? And I'm like, shh, brain, shh. Maybe if you pay attention, they'll tell you. Then a debate to ask those questions popped up. Shh, brain. People think it's rude. Don't ask. And they'll probably say something generic like, I just wanted to share, which doesn't even help. Shh, brain, stop. And I was also trying to be polite and listen to their mouth noises. I was compromising with my brain. Try to focus, Coach Lee. Because if you don't acknowledge what they said, they're really going to think you're rude. That is a lot of processing, right? All that precious energy of processing gone. And I still had to deal with my neighbor who was in front of me. I needed to get out of my head and back into this conversation. I had to realize that my neighbor wasn't sharing for death. My neighbor wasn't seeking connection, or at least the kind that I was looking for. What my neighbor was actually doing was offering a low-risk personal detail. They wanted something in exchange for this detail too. Either a detail about me or an acknowledgement about what they were experiencing. Those would have done the trick. But at the time, I didn't know the significance of the exchange for them. It took many more interactions to discover what the subtext was. And here's what I discovered. This question, why are you talking to me? Well, what they're really saying is, I want you to know that I exist and I see that you do too. The answer to the question, why do you think I want to know this? Well, they think you want to know because they assume you also want the small details about them so that you know they exist and you see them too. Once I saw that, the interaction made complete sense. Instead of going into my head to try to find the answers to those questions, I already knew the purpose of them talking to me in the first place. I didn't have to overthink anything. I could just engage. But I know this doesn't come naturally to us. I mean, I had to work really hard to figure out why they were talking to me, to answer those questions so that I can get out of my head into a conversation, so that I could kind of connect with people on the surface level so that I wouldn't overthink conversations and I'd appear relatable. And there are many benefits to appearing relatable. This is how you build community, even with people that you are not deeply connected with. It's absolutely worth it to do this, especially in times like this. And I get it. It feels exhausting. It's draining. But here's the thing. And that's not how we naturally connect. Thinking back to that interaction where I overthought the entire conversation, I left feeling pretty drained. And that wasn't anything fun or connecting or safe for me. On my end, without understanding the purpose of the conversation, you just signaled to me that I need to stay far, far away from you because you'll drain my precious energy. I'll start overthinking, and I just don't have time for this. I don't have the energy for it. I'm exhausted already just by trying to figure out what the right thing is to say, and here's another interaction where I have to do that. And small talk can happen anywhere, at any time. Whew, right? And if you're autistic or ADHD, you like structure, you like routine, you're focused on internal priorities. That means you're kind of in your head thinking about the things that you want to do, feeling the way you want to do. And you also manage your energy carefully. So being expected to constantly signal safety feels pretty unfair because you're not doing anything wrong. I mean, you're not a threat. You're just existing in a world that they have no access to and they want access. But because you're quiet, you're not participating in the way that they normally recognize, and they don't know you. And they've got all the space in the world to make up who you might be. And I get that some of you might not care that they know you. You just don't want to play that social game, and you don't have to. However, I've always found that knowing the rules and the expectations have helped me personally function a lot better in those situations. Instead of encountering small talk and being overwhelmed with what do I say, how do I say, what do they want from me, I could stop over processing. And I can come up with faster answers. And I could leave these interactions that drain my energy with my energy intact because I'm not overthinking. I know what I want to say. I know how I'm going to say it. I know the purpose of the conversation. So I've come to see small talk as a tool. It's a tool that humans discovered even before they understood it. A tool to see who is safe and who is not. So I want you to adjust your thinking about small talk and use it as a tool. Be utilitarian about it. From now on, when you encounter it, think, this is a tool for people to get to know if I'm safe. Then you can decide whether or not you want to engage. It's important that you already know the purpose so you don't go searching for the purpose when you're met with small talk. Now keep that in mind. You don't have to enjoy small talk. You don't have to perform curiosity or deep interest in what they say. That's another way to preserve your energy. You can simply acknowledge what they say, share a little bit about you, and excuse yourself. Even a nod or a short response is enough. Then exit. Cool, have a great day. See you later. Gotta get back to my thing. That's often enough to communicate, I'm predictable, I'm not hostile, we're fine. Now, if you don't know what to say for small talk, or you'd like to move small talk to more meaningful conversations, then come to one of my events. On Saturdays, we have Unmasked conversations, and at this event, you and a few of your peers can ask me relationship questions. I'll give actionable steps and scripts to help you take a next clear step. You don't even have to ask questions to attend. You can simply be in a space to learn from listening how I support others with same challenges. Space is limited to just 10 people, so go to patternsofpossibility.com/events to get your spot and check out other events that are happening weekly. I'll see you there. All right, let's wrap this up. If you've heard something today that has helped you see yourself in relationships a little differently, then I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can leave a comment here, or you can reach me at patternsofpossibility@gmail.com. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, if you could take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe, it really helps more people find these conversations and join our growing community. And speaking of community, if you're looking for a space where you can express yourself and be met with curiosity rather than rejection as a late diagnosed autistic adult, then come visit the patternsofpossibility.com and find your community there. Learn more about what we're doing. We're connecting with others. You can be yourself and authenticity in this space. Find other people who've had your experiences, who know what you're going through, so you don't have to do this alone. Until next time, take care of your energy and remember that connection starts when you allow yourself to be seen.